Well, this is another Thursday Night Live with Broken But Not Wasted Ministries with Pastor Sarah Batroni. And tonight we have a very special guest with us. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him. But before we even start, I'm going to give you guys a few moments to join. But before we start, we know that this month is dedicated to Black History Month. So, in celebrating Black History Month, we want to acknowledge one lady who was very special and who made great strive for the Black race by her behavior, her resilience, and how she stood up to the challenges that she faced as an African American. So tonight I have a great honor to present to you to feature Carla Bell Williams. I saw her on one of my sister's profile during the week and I said, yeah, let's do that. And the production team thought it was a good idea. So we decided to feature to you Carla Bell Williams. So now, guys, let me try to share the screen. Hopefully it's gonna work. I greet you tonight. So as you join in, I'm gonna ask you to share this broadcast. OK, share the live pour l'autre monde capable participer et capable joindre toute information qui est nécessaire pour que vous capable vivre en vie meilleure, pour vous capable vivre en bonne santé parce que moi ça c'est le mois de la santé du cœur aux États-Unis. So, nous connaissons tous que c'est moi qui dédicacé à l'histoire de la race noire. So, à soi, nous allons présenter une dame noire qui était réellement endurée et il était comporté bien par tout ce qui était accompli dans la ville malgré ségrégation. Even there was segregation and she had a hard time, she still pursued the course of her life and she was able to accomplish great things. So it is with great pleasure that I'm going to share my screen with you and share the life of this beautiful woman.
Built in 1980, but its history dates back to 1928, when New Mexico State University, then known as the New Mexico College of Agriculture and Mechanic Arts, enrolled its first Black student to graduate from NMSU. Her name was Clara Bell Williams. Williams took courses every summer and eventually earned her bachelor's degree in English in 1937. Under segregation, Williams' professors did not allow her inside the lecture room, so she resorted to listening and taking notes while standing in the hallway. At the age of 51, she was NMSU's first Black graduate, but was not allowed to participate in the ceremony. Recognizing the injustice toward their first Black college graduate, in 1961, NMSU officials began to make amends. 43 years after Williams received her undergraduate degree, she received an honorary Doctor of Laws degree from NMSU in 1980. In 2005, the university renamed its English building after her and declared February 13, 2005, Clara Bell Williams Day. A scholarship in Williams' name continues to honor her legacy and her dedication to lifelong learning.
Wow, what a life. And she went on to live 108 years. She was 108 years old when she died. And her three sons became physicians. They also went to New Mexico University. Isn't that a story? So I felt like it was very important to share this wonderful woman with you. How inspiring. So you can achieve regardless of difficulties or challenges that life may present, whether it is natural challenges or man-made challenges. In her case, she had to physically stand in a hallway and listen to the professor's lecture parce que pas de vle quitter entrer dans salle de classe là. So t'es obligé de camper dans le couloir pour t'attendre puis pour le prendre note jusqu'à ce qu'elle gradue avec her bachelor's degree. And even then, they did not allow her, yo pas quitter, yo pas permettre li marcher pour la prendre diplôme non. But avec toute endurance et persévérance que Carla Bell Williams te gagné, nous voyons comment yo te bin honoré plus tard, yo te bal an honorary degree of law from that same university et yo te nommé en hall après lui-même. So this is wonderful. Makmade nou encore pour nous share the live as I'm going to introduce the guest, tonight's guest, a young man that has been on this platform. This is his third time to the platform. It is none other than Dr. Ramsky Dennis, Dr. Ramsky Denis. C'est lui-même qui sur plateforme nan assoya encore pour la troisième fois. Première fois, nous t'ai fait paraître le COVID-19, t'ai fait sortir à peine, peut-être en mars 2020, avec another doctor, Dr. Chen. They had shared the platform, and also he came back and spoke about the importance of education being the key to success in life. So tonight, we thought, the production team and I thought it was appropriate to bring him to the platform once again to talk about heart health in men. So Dr. Ramsky, let me give you his bio. Dr. Ramsky Dennis is a cardiovascular disease fellow at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. Prior to joining the Division of Cardiovascular Disease, he completed his internal medicine residency at Brown University in Rhode Island and his medical school training at the University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. Yeah. All right. Dr. Ramsky holds a master's degree in public health with a concentration in disease prevention and a master's degree in business administration with a focus in health policy and healthcare management. His research interests include health disparities within cardiovascular disease, health policy, and advancements in interventional cardiology. Dr. Ramsky is a native of Miami, Miami, Florida, and currently he resides in Baltimore, Maryland. Dr. Ramsky, welcome back to our platform tonight. It's a wonderful pleasure to have you once again. Welcome and thank you for being so available. Nous réellement disons merci. Young person, you're a great resource to our community. And whenever we call on you, you always so gracious to say, yeah, I will come and share the knowledge that the Lord has given me. Welcome.
Merci un pile, Pasteur Batouani. Merci un pile pour un privilège ça. Moi, très fier, moi, très content pour là ensemble avec nous à soir.
Oui, Dr. Ramsky, merci beaucoup. Merci pour disponibilité. Merci pour esprit de service ou son ressource, ou son gros ressource pour communauté nous. Et nous pas aucun problème pour nous maintenant retourner encore et encore because la cabeza is full. Share the knowledge. Yes, thank God. So, Dr. Ramsky, avant même que nous commencer à tacler, alors je demande aux audiences pour partager, broadcast ça, pour un pile monde capable bénéficier de ça, parce que nous allons parler de heart health. Last week, we talked about heart health in women. I swear, nous allons parler de heart health in men. Dr. Ramsky, mes amis, Monsieur yo Pavle Alka, Dr. Ramsky, parole doctor, it's nothing personal, but men in general do not like to take a trip to the doctor to do their physical. So, avant même que nous commencions, Dr. Ramsky, nous allons introduire tout, ou même pour capable dire nous, who is Ramsky? Let's say, gon moun qui vient demander, me dit, ou t'es un jeune petit docteur sous live ou yeah, I'm calling on John Hopkins University, côté Doctor, what's the name of that cardiovascular surgeon who was at John Hopkins University?
The neurosurgeon.
The neurosurgeon.
Ben Carson.
Yes. Ben Carson, where Ben Carson was. So you had that young doctor on your platform. Tell me more about him. So what would you say? Please present yourself to the audience. Who is Ramsky? Talk to me about Ramsky. What kind of childhood? Qui est-ce ou t'es fait Miami ou levé Miami là, dans North Miami? So parlez de Ramsky. Parlez audience de Ramsky avant que le vienne Dr. Ramsky.
Actuellement, parce que Batronim côté fait un si bel job pour te faire présentation au commencement, mais du fait que vous demandez, m'a repasser sur ça pour m'introduire moi encore. J'ai dit au commencement, non, moi c'est Ramsky Denis, moi c'est un médecin ici, actuellement moi habite Baltimore, j'ai un série de training que m'a continué pour me faire ici dans John Hopkins pour mettre en série de corriger en série de problèmes cardiologiques, qui ont un problème artère coronaire, qui ont un problème valvular disease, chercher une série d'expériences pour ici là, afin que pour me servir communauté, moi, je me retourner à Miami. J'en ai dit là, moi, t'es élevé Miami, Florida. Miami, I was born in Jacksonville Memorial Hospital, et c'est là que j'ai passé jeunesse moi, c'est là que j'ai fait toute étude moi, mais c'est là que j'ai élevé. J'étais réellement actif, j'étais très actif dans la communauté haïtienne, j'étais très actif dans l'église moi, pendant que j'étais Miami, et je dit c'est grâce à l'église moi, c'est grâce à pasteur moi, c'est grâce à la communauté moi qui fait que moi là aujourd'hui. So me dit tout le monde ça remercie parce que si c'est pas pour ça ou pas connaître moi aujourd'hui, ou pas connaître moi. So en résumé, ça c'est histoire moi. That's my story in short.
So you just had a regular, normal childhood, nothing really, you know.
No, malheureusement, or fortunately rather, pas une histoire horrifique ou bien pas une histoire tragique pour me raconter à soi. On m'a dit que maman t'es élevé moi-même avec deux sœurs seul. Papa moi malheureusement il était mort à l'âge de 49 ans. Papa moi t'es souffert un gros heart attack à l'âge de 49 ans. Et le samedi gagne 2 ans. So m'te élevé sans gagne papa, mais bon Dieu dans grâce li, bon Dieu dans miséricorde li, t'es fait provision pour moi, il dévoyé un papa spirituel pour moi et un papa physique pour moi dans forme de pasteur Belisario Noël. So me toujours dit bon Dieu merci chaque chance mon gagne pour me dire pasteur Belisario merci, me toujours dire merci parce que c'est vraiment un monde que bon Dieu te mettait sous chemin moi. Et c'est un monde qui t'a enseigné moi parole bon Dieu, c'est un monde qui t'a gagné un peu de patience ensemble avec moi, c'est un monde qui t'a réellement cru dans moi-même et c'est un monde qui t'a réellement encouragé dans tout que ça me t'a fait, tout que ça me t'a entreprendre. So malgré pas un papa biologique parce qu'il était mort avec un heart attack. Mais bon, j'ai fait provision, j'ai voué passer Belisario Noël sous chemin moi pour le cas servir comme un guide, servir comme une ressource, servir comme un rôle modèle, servir comme un modèle pour moi-même dans la vie moi. Mais oui, me passer dans le système d'études Miami, you know, dans l'école publique toute vie moi, c'est dans l'école publique qui me passé toute étude moi. Études primaires, élémentaire, middle school, high school, c'est dans Miami, dans l'école publique qui me passé toute étude ça yo. et bon Dieu te fait nos grâces. So si me te dit si vous voulez qu'on est qui gens qui me fait dans position ça que je dis faut qu'on dise que c'est pas plus bon depuis bon passer l'autre monde c'est pas plus intelligent depuis intelligent passer yo mais bon Dieu te fait grâce simplement bon Dieu te fait grâce. On va continuer pour une question bien.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Absolutely. So now the audience know a little bit more about Ramsky, okay? Et puis ça peut pas changer, okay? You just have the same face that you do have in that picture as a little boy. Look at that. Look how cute he is.
Passe mettre ton petit poids, oui, mettre ton petit poids sur moi, oui.
Okay. And it is so great that you acknowledge your pastor who served you, even though bien que vous pas de bon papa physique ensemble avec vous, maman t'a pleuvé avec deux sœurs pour contre lui, but the family, the spiritual family was there, and that man of God stepped in the in place of your father, your physical father that you didn't have. Dr. Ramsky, et me content de dire que c'est bon Dieu pour là. I see that picture. I love it that you had your indexed up, giving all the glory to God, giving the glory to Jesus. Parce que Dieu pas bon qui faut arriver là, and I can only imagine that it was not easy for you, but thank God, mon qui that purpose in you is faithful, and you are going from glory to glory. So now, Dr. Ramsky, vous dit que papa mourit à l'âge de 49 ans.
Oui.
Et qui cause la mort, papa encore?
Papa me souffre problème cœur. Papa me a un problème qui est le congestive heart failure. Et papa me a un problème qui est le coronary artery disease.
OK, so à 49 ans d'âge, papa mourit de un heart attack. Dr. Ramsky, j'en ai commencé à dire, monsieur yo pas remet à faire check-up kay docteur, à faire docteur, c'est pas un bagage que yo remet du tout. Now, est-ce qu'on est capable de dire nous, est-ce que peut-être le fait que papa était mouru avec un heart attack là, c'est ça qui a cheminé ou c'est ça qui trigger that desire for you to go into that field of cardiovascular interventional cardiology? Est-ce que vous pensez que c'est à cause de ça?
Oui, définitivement, je dis c'est une raison que j'ai choisi pour me faire pour me rentrer dans une carrière en cardiologie. Mais même dans l'école de médecine, j'ai toujours trouvé que cardiologie ou bien cœur c'est un organe qui était très spécial. Et j'ai toujours trouvé que c'était un organe côté que de comprendre les puis bien passer tout l'autre organe, de comprendre les puis bien passer rein, de comprendre les puis bien passer poumon, de comprendre les puis bien parce que cerveau, so de senti que c'est un carrière que bon Dieu était réellement poussé là-dedans. Actuellement, j'ai commencé l'école de médecine, intention moi ou bien ça me devait faire personnellement, je devais faire OBGYN, je devais faire gynécologie, mais pendant de commencer, pendant de faire en rotation, on voit était réellement apparent que c'est pas ça que bon Dieu devait pour me faire. Et au contraire, c'est cardiologie que bon Dieu devait me faire. Mais j'en dis en pasteur Batoni, garçon, il vraiment, il pas aller à l'hôpital, il pas aller à la clinique, il pas aller à la caille docteur, il pas aller à faire check-up. Et papa me dit non moun ça tout. Et un autre problème papa me gagné, papa me dit qu'on boire, il qu'on fumer. Il qu'on fumer en pile. Et elle a une chance pour aller à la caille docteur, elle a une chance pour interner la caille l'hôpital, il était encouragé pour 6 points de fumer, pour 6 points de boire. Et malheureusement, il n'a pas écouté suggestion ou bien recommandation docteur. Et enfin, ça devient une cause que cœur devient réellement faible et heart failure devient réellement fatigué et malheureusement il devient mourir à cause de heart failure qui va contrôler.
And was it just like sudden? Did he have a chance to go to the hospital to have surgery, or it was just like a black widow heart attack type of thing, and then that's it?
Oui, malheureusement, m'étais là, mais vous connaissez, m'étais gagné 2 ans à cette
Right.
époque. So, m'a songe en ken, m'a songe histoire yo, personnellement, mais d'après ça, maman et l'autre monde qui était là, après ça, ils dit moi, il était un problème, il pas respirer, après ça, il a dormi, il était sentir bien, il pas jamais lever dans sommeil là. So,
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
mourir dans sommeil.
Yes. So Dr. Ramsky, now we're moving ahead. So talk to us about heart health, the importance of heart health, and then we're going to tackle the issue of men, especially black men, how prevalent that problem is in that group.
So, premièrement, heart health c'est un bail qui est très important. Et c'est pour raison ça que depuis en 1965, gouvernement américain a dédié moi ça pour focus sur traitement de cœur et focus sur on sait des problèmes qui gagnent dans l'environnement cardiologie depuis en 1965. Et depuis là, ça, cardiovascular disease ou bien problème cœur, c'est une première cause que la mort, or the number one cause of death, première cause de la mort ici aux États-Unis. So it's the number one cause of death, ahead of cancer, ahead of all cancers, ahead of, ahead of trauma, ahead of HIV, ahead of other, communicable diseases, ahead of other problems. Cardiovascular disease, or heart disease rather, is the number one killer amongst Americans in the United States. Et l'on continue à garder entre communauté, dans la communauté noire, nous voyons que 25%, 25% of people in the black community die from heart disease. That means 1 in 4 people in the black community would die from heart disease. That means heart failure, coronary artery disease. So, c'est un gros problème qu'il y a dans la communauté noire en particulier. And one of the reasons, une raison que c'est un gros problème lié, non seulement dans la communauté noire, mais dans la communauté américaine en général, c'est parce que en pile, on ne pas focus sur prévention. Parce que prévention, c'est un gros problème dans le pays, surtout en parlant des cardiovascular et heart disease. Il y a un pile de monde qui fume, il y a un pile de monde qui pas fait exercice, il y a un pile de monde qui mange ça, il veut manger. Il mange qui a un pile sel, il mange un pile qui a un pile graisse, il mange qui a un pile carbohydrate. On mange ça, on va tourner en fat, en graisse dans la commune, il y a ça même cause que le cœur obligé de travailler plus. Le cœur travaille plus, le cœur vient fatigué, so it causes heart failure. Là, on mange, ou pas manger, ou une souffrir tension. L'on souffre tension, ou souffrir cholestérol, ça vient cause que artère qui baille cœur en sang, il vient bloquer. Il vient bloquer 100%, ça vient cause que vient heart attack. Mais tout problème ça yo que autant que m'a mentionné, tout problème ça yo c'est le problème qui a prévenir ou pas prévenir. Problème ça yo. Si vous vivez your vie or have a lifestyle that is heart healthy. So c'est ça qui me toujours encourager famille moi, toujours commencer avec famille moi. C'est ça qui me toujours encourager patient moi yo. C'est ça me toujours encourager n'importe monde qui me rencontrer quel que soit c'est dans la clinique ou bien que là c'est dans la rue, n'importe où que me rencontrer, on toujours focus sur prévention. Parce que oui, nous gagnons toute qualité d'instruments, nous gagnons toute qualité de médicaments, nous gagnons toute qualité de bagages que nous avons peuple là, ou bien monde qui souffre de problème cœur, mais focus en ta doué sur prévention pour nous pas gagner problème ça au commencement.
And Dr. Remsky, would you say that it's because people are not aware, people are not educated? Taku February is dedicated to heart health. Est-ce que c'est parce que moun yo pas connaît ou bien c'est juste parce que bon yo négligent parce que gen moun k'ap dou, you did mention that your dad drank and smoked, all right? Gen moun k'ap dou sou di moun nan well pas boire comme ça parce que ça pral agir sous foie ou li pral détruire foie etc. ou ka fait cirrhosis of the liver, ou capable faire cancer, liver cancer and so on and so forth. Moun ap dou well, tout moun doit mourir en façon. OK? Ou bien on dit moun nan quitte fumer parce que ça pas bon pour poumon, gen a fait cancer des poumons, etc. L'abdou tout le monde doit mourir en façon, so it's my way to go. So it's not really a matter of not knowing, not being aware, but it's just like sometimes, a lot of times people choose to do what they want to do. Wouldn't you say, Dr. Ramsky?
I would say that the problem is a multifactorial problem. Problem, c'est un problème qui gagne plusieurs façades, qui gagne plusieurs causes. Parce que gen moun vraiment c'est connaît yo pas connaît, mais malgré éduquer yo pas continuer faire, yo pas faire on sait les bagages que yo t'a doit faire en pour promoter on une bonne santé et une bonne vie physique. So ça c'est un problème. Mais il y a l'autre problème tout qui existait qui cause que on sait des moun pas vivre une vie on de bonne santé. Gen moun malheureusement yo pas gain accès à une série de bons manger. Il y a des gens qui n'ont pas accès à des ressources pour faire exercice, pour faire des bagages. Les gens sont toujours encouragés. Si vous n'avez pas dans le gym, si vous n'avez pas affordé le gym, courir dans la communauté, courir dans le bloc. Il y a des gens, malheureusement, on peut pas avoir accès à une série de manger qui ont une bonne nutrition. Et il y a des gens qui ont des problèmes d'éducation. Pour un bon exemple, il y a une famille qui m'a expliqué que papa souffre tension. Mais tension qui pas souffre son tension qui est difficile pour contrôler. Mais tension commence à agir sous cœur papa. On parle avec madame li. Et que tension commence à agir sous cœur, il commence à agir sur elle. Mais malgré mon médicament, malgré mon courage pour faire des changements, chaque fois que monsieur vient dans la clinique là, tension toujours haut. Il est toujours haut, on pense des nouveaux côté que on a de vol dans emergency. Chaque fois il voit l'autre cardiologue, chaque fois il voit l'autre monde, pas même on peut occuper même toujours voler on voyait on la caille on dans salle d'emergency room. Mais un jour je chita parler avec madame là, me dit pour venir avec madame li. Moi de madame là qui ça on peut qu'elle a bail qui manger qu'elle a fait la caille. After questioning, pendant questionner nous c'est godiri. Il a utilisé Maggi qui charge avec sel. Il a utilisé de gros l'huile, de gros manger qui pas bon pour santé. Et elle me dit, il faut que la diète change. Elle m'explique que la diète changer pour tension corrigée, pour monsieur bon vivre en santé. Madame résistait avec moi. Il résistait avec moi. Il dit non, c'est ça le fait manger, c'est pas manger, c'est médicament. So, on monde comme ça. Malgré l'information, malgré une bonne information, il dit qu'il a fait, ça le fait, il dit non, c'est pas manger. Tandis que pour l'autre patient, on dit au même parole là, il attendait samedi, il met dans l'application, il retourne dans la clinique là, attention, parfait. So, it's multifactorial. Chaque monde différent. Il y a c'est un problème familial or hereditary problem. You know, for example, moi-même, je connais que I have the risk of having heart disease parce que papa me souffre. Ça veut dire que me fait des mesures pour ne pas souffrir problème cœur. Parce que me connais dans la famille moi, on peut me problème ça, dans la race moi me problème ça. Ça veut dire que faut me prendre plus de précautions pour ne pas souffrir problème ça. So it's multifactorial.
Because you are genetically predisposed to having that type of problem. Exactly. And I do agree that some people, you have what they call food desert, okay? So exactly. you're getting food desert, they don't have access to, veggies and good things. However, so that access is a factor, and I totally agree with you on that approach. Koto ou font multifacteur, on approche multifacteur, côté access, okay, accès. Ensuite, education, okay. Un pile moun pas éduqué. Another factor is even though the person is educated, but they remain ignorant. Yes. Okay, ignorant. You choisi pour live foolishly. in terms of access. Yesterday I was at Walmart, Dr. Remsky.
Mhm.
Mwen nan Walmart, et puis moun ki devan m nan, te gen yon choryo qui chargé, ou kon chake le chargé, surchargé avec manger ni en haut ni en bas. And I'm looking at Karamsky and my heart went out to them. Why? They were African Americans, 2 ladies. One was maybe 3 times my size, okay? Well, obese. The other one was on her way to be obese. And I'm looking at the cart, Dr. Remsky, bagay la chargé tête mwen. Pa genyen yon green. Pa genyen anken root, anken plant, ou pa anken bagay vert, anken vegetable, no fruit or vegetable. I'm standing there in line and they're unloading the cart. Yap déchargé kat la pou yo metel sou belt lan. Toutes ces boîtes, manger dans boîte. Pizza, Krispy Kreme donuts,
Wow.
you name it.
C'est dommage.
The little things, the hot dogs that you roll. I mean, everything in that cart was juice, was candy, was oh my God. And I'm standing there and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking. I'm like, oh my God. Come time to pay, I was on the side. I was able to see how much it was. $277 worth of food.
Junk.
$277 worth of junk. Yes, thank you. And what got to me was, it was not their card. It was not the debit card. How I know? Because they had to pay extra for cash, whatever was cash, meaning it was on food stamp. So I'm thinking that is a problem. Now, I know for WIC, when a woman gives birth and they give you WIC coupons, they tell you specifically what to get with the WIC coupons: beans, peanut butter, vegetables, carrots, and so on and so forth. Now, that is another factor. There, a lot of people, yes, you can be in a hard place and you're receiving food stamp. I mean, it's like, why can it be that you have to get veggies for those babies? You have to get fruits for those babies. You have to. It's mandatory, and not let people spend the money just like that. So that's another factor.
Oui.
Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think you touched on the food deserts, and I didn't want to elaborate too much, but when you talk about social determinants of health, it is multifactorial. And in this case in particular, I think we've addressed the issue of access, right? Moun sa la moun pa li gen accès, right? So this, mais malgré li gen accès à manger ou bien un produit qui est essentiel pour bon santé, li choisi pour pas acheter manger un bon qui bon pour santé. Il choisit pour acheter manger qui haut dans sucre, manger qui pas faire le gros, manger qui pas faire souffrir sucre, manger qui pas faire souffrir tension, manger qui pas faire plus obèse, manger qui pas faire souffrir problème cœur et puis problème rein, des problèmes physiques et mental et émotionnel. It's going to cause all types of physical, mental, and emotional problems. She made that choice. So I do think that there is a self component. There is a choice component. I do believe that. And I use my dad as an example as well. He was told to not smoke many times for years. So it wasn't that he had, the lack of knowledge. It wasn't that he didn't have, the awareness. It wasn't that he didn't have access to, a healthy lifestyle or good information. He had that access. He chose not to, right? And because he chose not to, those choices ultimately created the pathway for his demise. So I agree with you. D'accord avec vous que il y a un pile monde qui a souffert, il y a un pile monde qui a un problème concernant des santé. C'est des problèmes qui sont des problèmes qui créés à cause de des choix que nous avons fait. Et c'est pas choix qu'il a fait aujourd'hui, non? Mais c'est choix qu'il a longtemps qu'il a fait. This woman you saw, for example, she didn't become obese overnight, right? She became obese or overweight. She first became overweight, and then she became obese, and she's likely morbidly obese. But this happened over a span of years, decades sometimes. You know, for example, I don't want to be too critical because I understand how difficult. On comprend qu'il est difficile pour faire des changements lifestyle, pour faire des changements de vie. Because même moi-même, année passée, on commence à gagner un ventre. On dit, oh, on dit que le ventre ça sorti.
I saw you at the health fair.
Oui, vous devez me faire là.
You were at the health fair, yes, yes.
Donc, vous dites, oh, vous dites que le ventre ça sorti. Même moi-même, quand je me dis, ah, on va pas arrêter comme ça, faut aller dans le gym, on va mettre, on va garçon sous moi, faut faire effort pour me baisser, because I can't stay this way. So now I reverted to a plant-based diet. You know, I try to eat, you know, as much fruits and vegetables with a low glycemic index as possible. I try to exercise, even though I know I'm busy, but these are things that I know I need to do because one, is good for my health, and two, I have to be a model to those or a role model to other people who are out there. No one wants to see a fat cardiologist, right? So,
right.
But I agree with you. I agree with you. But to summarize, you know, what I think is, you know, is the core issue is, you know, it is a problem of social determinants of health. And for some people, it may be one or two things. For other people, it may be one thing. For other people, it may be a multitude of those social determinants.
Okay. All right. So we talked about prevention and all these factors that contribute to heart disease. Okay. So now, if a person is at the stage where they've been diagnosed with a heart condition, now let's talk about treatment. We talk about lifestyle changes. On nous parle kounya de traitement médical qui disponible. So what would you actually talk to us about treatment? If Simon n'a been a stade côté, yeah, l'idée choisi mal, this and that, now they have a condition. Talk to us about treatment. And so je say black men heart. Yeah.
Black men, great. So great. So I'm going to break it down and I'm going to break the heart down in 4 parts. And this is the way I typically do it when I speak with, you know, my patients or I speak with, you know, anyone in the community, right? The heart has 4 components. The heart has a artery component or a vascular or blood supply component. The heart has a muscle component, right? The heart has a valve component. The heart has valves, and the heart has an electrical component. Ça veut dire que cœur a 4 portions, il y a 4 parties. 4 parties cœur, c'est cœur a un système de sang ou bien un système artériel qui baille cœur sang. Cœur a un système des muscles, cœur c'est un musclier. On voit et muscle qui a un problème. Cœur a un système de valves. Dans le système de valves, il y a 4 valves dans le cœur. Les valves ça a un problème ou a un problème cœur. Et cœur a un système électrical. Si il y a un problème électrical système cœur, ou a un problème. So si il y a un problème dans n'importe dimension ça yo, ou a souffrir ça yo relé heart disease. Le monde a heart disease, pour un exemple, si on a un problème dans blocage artère coronaire, artère qui bat cœur sang, moun sa a obligé recevoir une série de médicaments avant nous parler de mettre stent, avant nous parler de mettre on l'autre pour déboucher blocage, moun sa a obligé sur une série de médicaments pour améliorer blocage ça qui commence à former. Médicaments ça les statin. Médicaments ça c'est médicaments qui pour cholestérol, pour diminuer le cholestérol qu'on que moun la gagne. Deuxième médicament c'est aspirine. Aspirine sont médicaments qui aident le sang délier. It helps to dilute the blood and it helps to stop the platelet formation, the platelet aggregation. Moun sa obligé sur un médicament pour tension, preferably a medication they call ACE inhibitors or angiotensin receptor blockers. Those are medications for hypertension. Sometimes when people have coronary artery disease, if they have problem artère coronaire, you can mettre moun sa sous médicament beta blocker. Il y a un pile garçon qui parle pour un médicament qui est le beta blocker parce que une fois yo kon dit li ba yo problème on prend avec On prend dans partie garçon. Par contre, qui j'aime pour me dire ça clair, par contre, qui j'aime pour me dire ça, on prend effectivement parce que créole l'antigen lourd, il y a longtemps, on ne peut pas expliquer ça avec un patient. Mais, on pile garçon.
It would be erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction.
Exactly. So many men, they say they don't want to take some of these blood pressure medications because of erectile dysfunction issues that they may have. But to be honest with you, the reason that they have the erectile dysfunction issues to begin with is because the cholesterol isn't well controlled. The blood pressure isn't well controlled. The diabetes isn't well controlled. So when I have a patient who comes to me as a cardiologist and tells me that they want Cialis or they tell me that they want Viagra, I typically tell them, look, I'm going to check your hemoglobin A1C. I'm going to check your cholesterol levels, because if these are not controlled, your erectile dysfunction is never going to get better. Right? I can give you Cialis, I can give you Viagra all day, but it's not going to be efficacious. It's not going to be effective because your underlying disease, your underlying microvascular disease is not controlled. Right? So someone said beta blockers cause erectile dysfunction, and I would say beta blockers. I won't necessarily say that they cause erectile dysfunction. I would say that one of the side effects of beta blockers can be a poor erectile, erectile, or being able not to achieve a good erection, so to speak, right? But again, I wouldn't say that beta blockers cause erectile dysfunction, and not all of them do. Some medications are better than others, right? So when I have a patient who he says, look, I don't want to take the Carvedilol or the Coreg, which is a beta blocker, because it makes me feel this way, I usually prescribe a different medication. So that's one way to treat it, right? So you can treat it with medications. If the medications doesn't work, then some people, when they have significant blockages, they may need to receive a stent. And that's what I'm being trained for here at Johns Hopkins. So if they have a blockage, we can go in through their radial artery or their femoral artery to identify the blockage in the heart, put in a stent to open the blockage. So another problem that I really want to talk about is heart failure. So many people, they think that heart failure or heart disease only pertains to blockages in your arteries. You can also have a weak heart. Cœur musculier. It's a muscle like any other muscle. And if that muscle is super géré, muscle bien, il can venir faible. Et les cœurs viennent faibles, les muscles viennent faibles, you will have heart failure. They call it congestive heart failure.
I have a question, Dr. Remski. So, le moun l'on fait exercice là, c'est entraîner muscle, or you said there are four compartments. L'on fait exercice, est-ce que c'est fortifier muscle, ou bien est-ce que c'est passage ou by sang artérieux, ou bien c'est électricité ou plus facilité fait? I mean, when you exercising, keep parti dans cœur à travail. I know.
Great question. L'on fait exercice surtout pour cardiovascular, exercise. Exercise that makes you, run and you get tired. Ou fortifier tous les 4 parties dans cœur. You're helping your valves work more efficiently. You're strengthening your heart so your heart can work more effectively. You're opening your coronary arteries so your coronary arteries can work more effectively, right? In addition to that, you're also, helping the electrical conduction system of your heart work more effectively. So exercise helps all 4 components of the heart. But back to what I was
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But back to what I was saying about the heart failure, there are so many things that can cause heart failure. If you drink a lot of alcohol, that can cause, and I'm not talking about alcohol in moderation, right? I'm talking about when you drink alcohol excessively.
Right? I mean, tout temps.
L'eau boit en pile. And everyone knows, we know what it means, l'eau boit en pile. L'eau boit en pile, ça cause que muscle vienne faible. L'eau pas contrôler tension, ça va cause que muscle vienne faible. Les ou manger tout ça qu'on voulait, ou vient blocage dans le système artériel, ça va cause que muscle vienne faible, and you have congestive heart failure. And usually we treat those with medications such as Lasix, blood pressure medications, and some of the other medications that I mentioned before, some of the beta blockers and things of that nature. But when it gets very bad, some of these people may need to be put on medications by IV that they go home with, or in worst case scenarios, they may even need to have a heart transplant.
Wow. So Dr. Remsky, question t'as pral poser, hein? So how does exercise help with the electrical system of the heart?
So exercise causes the heart to continue to beat in a synchronous rhythm, right? When you exercise, in addition to it helping your heart beat in a synchronous rhythm, it's strengthening all of the other components of the heart, right? Because some people have electrical problems because of coronary artery disease. Some people have electrical problems because of heart failure. So when you exercise, you prevent the development of coronary artery disease. You also prevent the development of heart failure. So you're ultimately preventing the ultimate dysfunction with regard to an electrocardio, with regard to the electrocardio system. So you're promoting good heart health overall. Thus, the electrical system of the heart remains strong. Most people who have heart failure, for example, they need to have a defibrillator. If their heart function is less than 35%, they need to have a defibrillator. The defibrillator is not a pacemaker. It's just there because people who have heart failure have an increased risk of having sudden cardiac death, of just dying because their heart went into an abnormal electrical function. I think that's what my dad died from. He went to sleep, he had heart failure, and his heart just stopped. The electrical conduction system of his heart just stopped working, right? So when you have a defibrillator, what the defibrillator does is when your heart stops, it shocks the heart, right? But many of those people, they have heart failure. The heart failure is why the electrical system of the heart is not working the way it should. Thus, they need a defibrillator. So so all of the systems of the heart work together. One problem can lead to another problem, and another problem can lead to another problem. But prevention, in my opinion, is key.
Right. So why is it, or maybe I should ask, is heart disease more prevalent in men than women?
So studies have shown that heart disease is slightly more prevalent in men, particularly those, within their 50s and 60s. But heart disease is also very prevalent amongst African American women as well. And the factors associated with that, are a little bit different. The factors associated with heart disease amongst women, are typically seen, with women in their later ages because of the estrogen that women produce. Estrogen, through their ovaries, estrogen is cardioprotective, actually, right? So when women get into menopause, in their 50s, that's when you start seeing some of those protective benefits of estrogen go away. With obesity, in later stages of life, particularly amongst women, you see that it has a much more dramatic effect on heart health as well. So although the numbers aren't drastically different between men and women as it pertains to heart disease, you can see some of those differences in a drastic effect if you break it down in age groups, just because of that particular effect. For example, women in their early 40s and their early 50s don't typically have coronary artery disease or heart disease the way that men in their 40s and 50s have, because of the estrogen effect. When you start looking at women and men, in their 60s, those differences somewhat go away, and the numbers of heart disease somewhat, are somewhat equal.
Okay. I was going to say maybe, jokingly, that it's because men keep the stress on the inside and women, we just express it, we verbalize it, so we don't keep it in, we let it out. Maybe.
It is multifactorial. Like I said, there's no one issue. But like you mentioned, stress is a very big component. I was reading a study not too long ago, and it showed that women who have a good social network, women who have a good social network die.
Women.
Women.
Talking women.
Okay. Women who have a good social network die less than men, or die less than men, of the same age from heart disease. Women who have a good social network die less from women who are the same age less than women who don't have a good social network. So having a social network really helps women, deal with some of the stressors in life. Although those benefits with regard to stress and a good social network exist for women, for men it doesn't make a difference at all. So regardless of you put a good social network around men, the studies have shown that having a good social network when it comes to men doesn't make a difference with regard to death, unfortunately. So a good social network confers a protective effect in women with regard to heart disease, but not in men. So it's multifactorial, and everyone is different. For some reason, men deal with their stress differently, and most men, even if they do have a good social network, they're not going to go to their partners or their buddies and tell them about their problems every day.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yo pas parler, so yo plus intérioriser ça qui a passé en lieu que yo quitter là. Yes. So nous avons question. Ça c'est sœur moi qui New York, Marjorie. Il m'a dit docteur pour moi pour carotide qui bloqué. Carotide qui bloqué avec nipple stents too.
Okay, so she's talking about carotid artery stenosis. So carotid artery stenosis has the same pathophysiology as coronary artery disease. On parle de blocage dans artère carotide. On peut artère qui sorti dans cœur qui allait qui va cerveau en sang. En pile fois.
Est-ce que c'est devant ça on parle?
No, artère, yes. You have no, c'est artère. They're arteries.
Artère.
So they provide blood to the brain, right? And many times they can become blocked. You got bloqué. But the reason they become blocked is the same reasons why you have blockages in your coronary arteries. High cholesterol, hypertension, tension qui pas contrôlée, cholesterol, obesity, diabetes, insulin dependent diabetes, moun qui souffre sucre qui pas même contrôler sucre, qui veut continuer manger n'importe ça veut manger, qui veut manger qui gagne gros sucre, qui veut manger gros diri, manger qui which is turned into carbohydrates. All of those foods cause your artery to develop plaque around the artery. And sometimes the arteries in your carotid or your carotid arteries can develop plaque around them as well. When those arteries become narrow and smaller, they can decrease blood flow. Sometimes the plaque can break off and cause strokes in your brain. And if it gets very severe, they'll ultimately have to put stents in those carotid arteries, right? They can put stents in those carotid arteries. But the same way that you develop blockages in your coronary arteries, or the arteries to your heart, is the same way that you can develop blockages in the arteries that supply blood to your brain, or any artery in the body. The same arteries that provide blood to your penis, for example, is the same arteries that develop plaque in them. So if your penis is not receiving blood effectively, for example, then your penis won't be able to become erect the way that it should because of poorly controlled diabetes, poorly controlled hypertension, poorly controlled cholesterol. So all of the arteries in the body operate the same way. They all can develop plaque. They all can become small. They all can cause decreased blood, have decreased blood flow because of these issues that exist. And the carotid arteries is just another example.
So, l'organe en santé, le cœur en bonne santé, then you are in good health all around.
Absolutely. Le cœur en bonne santé, at least from a cardiovascular standpoint. Right, you are in good health from a total approach. And I tell people oftentimes when they go to the gym to make sure they do cardio. I have a lot of my guy friends, who go to the gym, or a lot of my people who go to the gym and they just lift weights.
Yes.
The lifting weights is good. It's good, right? Because it's good for the ladies. The ladies like muscles. The ladies like
the definition. Look at it, people. Look at this here. Look at this.
That's on me. So it's good. It's good for the muscles because women like muscles, right? Women like it, so the guys do it. The guys lift up weights, but it's not doing anything for their heart. You need to run. You need to exercise. You need to do those things. I had a good friend of mine, Pastor Bertroni. He could bench press almost 500 pounds. Mais sous mon monsieur kou là, he can't run one block. You know why? Because his heart is not healthy. He has very beautiful muscles, but his heart is not healthy because he hasn't, exercised, or he hasn't done enough cardio to build up his heart tolerance. So although he looks good, he's not healthy.
Wow. So ça explique pour qui ça là ouais mon font arrêt de cœur, puis on dit comme ça, même quoi moun ça tout le temps dans le gym tout le temps, ça veut dire que cœur pas travail, c'est plus muscle, core, the limbs that they're working.
Exactly.
Okay, that would explain it. You did talk about fruits that are low or bien high in sugar. Can you give us some examples? Let's say n'a changé diet, nous voulons manger plus végétable and plus fruits, mais on connaît que puis for fruits, like this morning around 1 o'clock I had some a juice, watermelon and banana. Maybe the watermelon was very, very sweet and the banana was sweet as well. And I'm like, wow, this is really, truly sweet. I had to cut it in half and pour water on it and make it like, tolerable because it was too sweet. So what are those fruits that are high in glucose that we need to kind of éviter?
So that's a very good question, Pastor Betroni, with regard to the types of fruits that people should be eating, right? Because all fruits are not good fruits. For example, pineapples, it is a fruit that has a very, very, very high glycemic index, right? It's loaded with sugar.
I love pineapples.
Yeah, of course you love pineapples. I'm going to give you another one that I know you love too. Mangoes. We love mangoes, right? I love mangoes, but it is a fruit that should be eaten in moderation because it has a very high glycemic index. Fruits such as apples are great because although they may be sweet, they have a very low metabolism. You don't like apples. Anybody make apple? See, we don't like what's good, but the more you eat it, trust me, your body will become more tolerable to it, right? Okay. So,
is that all apples, green and red?
Yeah, I mean, again, not only are they a good source of fiber, right? They don't cause your sugar to fluctuate the way that pineapples or mangoes do, right? There's certain types of oranges that aren't too sugary as well. Oranges are great. Bananas, bananas are amazing fruit. They're a good source of fiber, right? And they don't cause your blood sugar to go crazy. Someone mentioned berries. Absolutely, berries are real good. Selma Lewis says that she loves mangoes. Unfortunately, Selma Lewis, we need to eat the mangoes in moderation, right? Berries are great. In addition to that, right, we also want to supplement, our diet with other types of fruits, right? That may not be as. Hold on. Someone says they're not giving up their food. They'll stop the wine instead. C'est ça nous t'a parlé de oui. C'est ça nous t'a parlé de oui. C'est ça nous t'a parlé de oui. Malgré autant de yo dit non, je pas tel. I know it's hard. Lifestyle modification is very, very, very difficult. It's very challenging. I know because again, over the last 2 years, I've been on this journey as well myself. Cutting back on some of the things that I enjoy. I love rice. And most Caribbean people, most Haitians do.
Who doesn't love rice? We're Haitian.
Exactly. But I know I can no longer eat rice the way that I used to eat it. So I have to cut back. I substitute rice with quinoa. I've been eating quinoa for the past, almost a year and a half now. Right? It is lower. It has lower carbs, right? And it's good for fiber. It's good for a host of different things. And it doesn't cause you to be bloated. It doesn't cause you to gain weight the same way that the rice did, right? I substitute my rice with other types of vegetables, such as, broccoli, carrots, right? Like lettuce. My mom used to always tell me that I never liked lettuce. Now I love lettuce. Now I love, I love salads. I find creative salads to eat. I find different things to do with them. I pair them with good fish, with good salmon. If I'm going to eat a meat, I eat it in moderation. It all starts by doing small things. And those things, quinoa, there you go. Nadia says quinoa. And those small things that you do right now, ultimately they become bigger things, right?
These people are not listening, Dr. Remsky.
They don't want to give up the mangoes. I love mangoes too. I just like to eat them in moderation.
Bible dit tout est sanctifié, ok? Tout est sanctifié par celui qui est sanctifié. Ou prier sous lui et puis le manger. All right, that's what she's saying. Okay.
She can eat it. She can certainly eat it, but I'm not quite sure if she's going to get the desired results from a health standpoint that she's looking for. Sauteed. Someone said, "Am I Haitian?" Of course, I'm Haitian. But I think it's a Facebook post that they sent. No, I agree. I agree, Doctor. I agree, Pastor Bertroni. I think some of the things that we can do from a preventative standpoint, have to be initiated in very small increments. Commencer petit, après ça on vient développer un nouveau habitude. That's literally how you do it. C'est comme ça pour faire. I'm not telling you overnight to stop eating rice. I'm not telling you overnight, to stop, eating mangoes, but start eating them in moderation. Cut back. And then, like you said, ou te dit un bail qui était réellement intéressant. Ou dit jodi ou t'as boire un jus, ou vinn que jus sucré en pile. You know why? Ou kon pour ça ou ça parce que palette ou bon your palate has changed. Your palate ces jours-ci si mange un bagage qui a un pile sel ou bien même s'il gagne even if it's like a little bit like too much salt, I can't eat it. You know why? Because I no longer put salt in my food. Now, I'm averse to it. You know why? Because I've been on a new pattern, a slow, progressive way of healthy eating. And
I'm going to tell you why, Dr. Ramsky. Et j'en dis encore habitué avec Sobali. I had a scare on, when was it? Friday night. What had happened was, I'm going to tell you people, what had happened was on Thursday night, I had made shrimp, crabs, the big crab legs, and steak for dinner and a little bit of rice. My son loves that, so I made it for him. I made the shrimp, the crab legs, and the steak. So as I'm doing the shrimp, hey, I'm popping some shrimp, and they were like the big shrimp, okay? C'était gros shrimp l'idée. Et puis, moi, même manger sel. Tout le monde qui close to me, they know Sarah loves salt. They always saying, Sarah, mange trop sel, Sarah, mange trop sel. So my pop shrimp, my fat manger, my pop shrimp. I don't realize how much I'm eating. I took a little bit of steak, and the next day, I started some crabs and chips. I had a bag of chips, and I ate it. Dr. Remsky, I felt so bad around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the afternoon after work. The back of my neck was hurting. My blood pressure went. I have low blood pressure. Pression, c'est 110, 107 per 68, 70, or sometimes it can go down to 100, 104. That's my blood pressure. Mm-hmm. It went up to 139 by 99, and I felt so tense back here. So from that day, I was like, oh my God, I don't like this. So from Sunday, I cut. And like you said, palate m'a commencé à habituer. Before, I would not have tasted that the juice was so sweet, but so by so I'm making changes, big changes.
And you're right. After a while, your body's going to tell you that I don't want these things. Même pourquoi abdou ab rejeté by ça yo. On sait de manger, même pourquoi abdou manger ça ou on peut pas chita bien. You're going to see. Pourquoi don't manger un pile sel, bien don't manger un pile sucre. Your body's going to change. Your body's going to tell you after you've made a lifestyle adjustment. So I think those things, need to be implemented, slowly. Gen moun ki di, c'est vrai oui, mais monsieur yo reme ti diri yo. M konnen monsieur yo reme ti diri yo. Mba di pa ba yo diri, but sometimes we have to cut it back moderation. I see some of the plates, gen se de plat, gasou sa ap manje, it's not healthy. Li pa bon pou yo. We have to eat in smaller portions, right? If you're gonna eat the rice, okay, fine. Eat it in smaller portions. Increase your exercise. Substitute the rice with salad. Mettons salade à côté. It says, my doctor told me I was borderline sugar. I put some water in okra and drink it. Fabien, no? It says, when I went back, she told me, what did you do? Everything was fine. So I don't know about water and okra. I'm not saying that it's not an effective treatment. I just can't explain the pathophysiology behind it. And if I have a patient who has borderline sugar or a patient who has, diabetes, if they want to drink okra and water, they can continue to do it. But I'm going to also recommend things that I know to be effective, right? Like exercise, weight loss, diet, right? And sometimes when that is not effective, les bails sont pas effectifs, nous obliger à encourager patient pour médicament. Trust me, Pastor Batoni, I don't like prescribing medication. Pas me prescrire médicament. C'est pas que me remet, c'est pas que on peut prendre plaisir on peut là-dedans. Parce que les patient qui souffre pour exemple cholestérol, on fait diagnosis là. Ou bien les patient qui souffre sucre ou bien fait diagnosis là ou bien you they're borderline. Avant de commencer sous médicament, I'm toujours encouragé, I'm toujours dire, hey, look, before I put your medication, I'm going to give you a chance. But I want chance to see if these numbers can get better. Go change your diet. I need you to lose 30 pounds. I need you to lose 15 pounds. And then I'll have you come back in 6 months or 3 months or whatever time frame and check it again. If it's good, then I won't put your medication. But in 6 months, if it's still elevated or if it's worse, now I have to do something. You can decide ou ka choisir pour pas prendre médicament, mais as a good clinician practicing good medicine and as someone who cares about my patients, I'm going to recommend what I know works. So I'm not saying, I think the question touches on a good topic, and it's a topic about herbals, fae, all these other alternative things. I'm not saying that they're not good. But
remède naturel non yo.
Remède naturel yo. Oui, m'a dit que yo pas bon parce que maman me kon fait tout. Mais m'a dit nous même j'aime kon dit maman. Mommy, problem qui gagne c'est que I don't know how to titrate those things. M'a kon qui j'aime contrôler ou bien qui dosage pour pas on fait ça.
Oui, parce que tout haïtien c'est docteur. Tout haïtien c'est docteur. So dosage là yo ka tuer même. Le Covid fait ça. Yo dit pour mal pour un paquet de feuilles et puis pour un bagage et puis bah la manque fait ce matin. It's like so yeah.
Et te ça yo bien fait ça yo gen fois yo ka bon pour un bagage et yo cause on l'autre yo ka vinn cause un autre problème. For example, there's a tea. Now, I can't remember the name of it, but when I was in Miami, it was very common, but it's a tea that Jamaicans use often. It causes liver failure. And it's a tea that is used routinely, but it causes liver failure. It's known to cause liver failure, but they use it, I think, for hypertension and for a bunch of other things. So, m'a dit que failure pas contre bon pour on sait les bagailles, m'a dit que remède naturel pas contre bon pour on sait les bagailles, mais on peut continuer à faire, on peut continuer à utiliser. Mais si un docteur qui dit que on peut pour on sait des médicaments surtout pour insuline ou bien on peut pour sucre ou bien si docteur dit que on peut sur des régimes et on choisit pour pas prendre yo, on peut continuer à prendre des médicaments faits ou bien médicaments naturels, on mettre tête ou dans gros danger. You're putting yourself at very, very high risk.
So, Dr. Ramsky, n'a quitté oui, but c'est tellement intéressant. Mais in terms of rice, Chinois yo mange en pile du riz tout. What do you say to that?
Chinois
yo mange pile passé non.
Et Chinois yo mourir en pile tout. So, coronary artery disease is a very big problem amongst Asians, among Asian Americans. It's a very, very, very big problem. So
they're not obese though.
So they may not have the problem with obesity, but again, they may have other issues with the effects as it pertains to eating rice, right? She know I have very high rates of coronary artery disease, right? Because they eat a lot of meat, they eat a lot of rice, they eat a lot of other things that may negatively affect their heart. Them not being obese, I think, is more of a factor of their genetics or their biochemistry more than anything, right? You know, I'm pretty sure you've met people, they can eat everything, but they don't get obese. You understand? But that doesn't mean that they're not. That doesn't mean that they're healthy. That just means that, you know, the way in which that their health is manifested is not manifested in overweight, in overweightness. But that doesn't mean that they're healthy. Parce que ouais, chinois pas gros, on peut te conquérir. C'est pas dire que le chinois en bonne santé. But it's the same way I explained to you about the guy who lifted up all the weights. He looked great. If you là, if maintenant dans chambre toute femme, toute fille, they're gonna look at him. You know, they're gonna be excited, but he's not healthy. He's not healthy. You know, so the rice is a problem in our community, amongst black people. I know it may not be a problem amongst the Asians. It may not be a problem amongst other groups, but it is certainly a problem amongst our community because it's very high in carbohydrates, and the way we metabolize it, the way our bodies metabolize it, you know, we metabolize it by turning it into carbohydrates, which ultimately gets converted into fat. Right? So again, because other people can do something doesn't mean that we can do it. There are a lot of things that we can do that Asians can't do. There are a lot of things that other groups can do that, you know, we can't do. So again, it's just, you know, it's very individual. It's very different as it pertains to every person.
Okay. Wow. Dr. Ramsky, it's good. Well, I had one more question that I saw here.
Is it possible to be fat and healthy? I don't like salt. I don't like meat. I really eat seafood. Don't like sweet. I have low heart rate, low cholesterol. I really eat rice. So the question is it possible to be fat? Is it possible to be obese and healthy? So the real answer to that is yes, right? But the medical community answer, or the cardiologist in me answer is no, right? I'll give you an example, because again, I don't want to promote obesity, and I don't want people to think because they are obese but their blood pressure is controlled, and their cholesterol is controlled, and because they don't have any medical conditions, you know, that they're okay. Because remember, some of those protective effects that women see go away after menopause. So it may be that the health that you see, or the health that you're experiencing right now, may be a result of the estrogen effect. Because we know that to be true, right? But once that estrogen wanes and once it goes away, that weight may be a very, very, very big problem in the future. So it is possible to be healthy and to be overweight at the same time. I'm going to give you one example. There are many football players. I don't know if you've seen them. They're 6'5". They weigh 350 pounds. They're offensive linemen, and they can run miles because their heart is very healthy. So in that case, they are healthy because their heart is healthy, right? Even despite them being overweight, but still, weight adds so much issues. It creates so many other issues. Although they are healthy, they are at increased risk for developing all the bad things we talked about today: hypertension, coronary artery disease. Once they stop exercising, those guys, once they stop exercising, that weight takes a very, very, very big toll on their health. So to answer your question, it is possible, but it's not encouraged. The slimmer you can be, right? The healthier size you can be. And that means a healthy BMI. The healthier you can be with regard to a BMI. And I know there are a lot of people who say, "Oh no, the BMI is inaccurate. It doesn't apply to me. It doesn't apply to black people." I understand it doesn't apply to all people, but the healthier BMI that you can achieve, or the slimmer you can be from a weight standpoint, the healthier it will be, or the better it will be to your overall health.
Well, Dr. Remsky, mon yo mande ou pour tourner plus souvent sur plateforme Broken But Not Wasted Ministries. I know you're busy. I mean, it's no telling how busy you are at John Hopkins University, your schedule and all. So, yeah, they want you to be back more often.
Mais parce que c'est pour ça là, c'est pour ça qu'on bon Dieu mettre nous là, bon Dieu mettre nous là pour nous bailler communauté éducation, pour nous éduquer communautaire parce que si moi gagne une ressource ou bien si gagne qui choix, faut que partager avec l'autre monde. I have to be able to give you all what I know.
C'est ça, c'est ça. In closing, qui sort a dit monsieur yo? Ou bien madame yo kap tande qui marié monsieur a fait courir yo pa vle ka docteur qui ça? How do you get these guys to go to the doctor before they drop?
OK. Premièrement, pas adresser madame yo. Parce que réellement, je connais ces madame yo qui vraiment gérer caillou, vraiment. Qui vraiment gérer maison. C'est madame yo qui a fait manger, c'est madame yo qui a comprendre, the woman is really the one who's, orchestrating, all the affairs of the house. So to the women, madame yo, pour yo continuer encourager garçon yo, premièrement pour yo faire exercice. Premièrement pour yo manger, on peut manger qui pour monter bon santé. Surtout pour madame yo qui a fait manger. Pas mettre un pile sel dans manger garçon. S'il vous plaît, si vous utilisez Maggi, si vous utilisez gros sel dans manger, parce que ça qui a pété fiel garçon yo. Si vous utilisez manger, si vous utilisez bagaille.
I like the way you say it.
Huh?
I just like the way you say it. C'est pas ça que pété fiel garçon yo.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say. C'est pas ça qui a pété fiel garçon yo vraiment. On va manger qui gagne gros sel, manger qui a fait garçon yo gros, manger qui a gonflé garçon yo. Si vous fait manger ça yo, et si on préparer manger pour garçon, on préparer manger en modération, on pas dire rien en modération. C'est pas 2 3 4 louche diri, non. Ça fait 2 3 4 louche diri, bah ça fini. Those days are over with. C'est ou même qui a fait manger, hein? C'est ou même qui vraiment madame Kaila. Non, on peut pas manger, on dit qu'on c'est comme ça pour nous manger. Il faut encourager bonne santé. Non seulement pour garçons, mais pour petit million qui dans Kaila. Faut que petit million élevé pour comprendre que c'est comme ça pour nous manger. Avec gros plat. Non, bah ça fini. Bah ça fini. Et dernièrement dit madame yo pour yo servir comme un exemple dans Kaila. They have to exercise as well. Faut que manger comme on manger en tout. Faut que servir comme un exemple pour garçon yo. Parce que si garçon yo ouais et tim yo ouais que on va me touche au monde là, oui, me touche au monde là. Même dit c'est comme un bon exemple. Me touche au monde là. Faut que c'est comme un bon exemple parce que si tim yo ouais, garçon yo ouais, on va bien sûr il capable dans un jour, il capable dans une semaine, mais définitivement il va commencer à suivre. Et pour garçon yo, si m'ta adresse garçon, m'ta dit garçon yo, faut garçon yo prend contrôle de santé yo. We have to take control. C'est yo pas les portions size non. OK. Faut garçon yo prend contrôle de santé. We have to take control of our health, right? Faut garçon yo commencer faire un série de mesures pour promoter bonne santé, pour encourager, pour afin que vous compreniez vivre plus longtemps et vivre plus bien. Right? Faut que garçon commence à faire des petits bagailles. Little things. I'm not asking for big things. The men have to start doing little things, right? Stop eating foods that we know are not good. Moi-même, longtemps, je busy, marcher, m'a conduit, on passe dans McDonald's, on mange un burger. I used to do that all the time. But I can't do that anymore. If I go to McDonald's, you know what I get? I get a Caesar salad. I used to eat McFlurries and milkshakes at McDonald's. I know as a man, I can't do that anymore. It's not good for my health, right? So I started by doing the little things. Et c'est ça ça me get garçon tout. Comment c'est fait pour tu me dis. Et dernièrement m'a dit garçon yo exercise.
Can we do that once in a while? Can we get that McFlurry or that milkshake once in a while? Or that burger once in a while? Come on.
So of course, I think I think if you are living a healthy lifestyle, there's always room, right? There's always room to have a nice dessert. There's always room to have a nice meal. There's always room to have, you know, the McFlurry or whatever your sugary choice is. For Geralda, I think it's mangoes, you know, or for someone else it may be something else. It's okay. It's okay once in a while, right? Once in a while. But what I'm talking about is more of a global lifestyle change. These things need to be out of your vocabulary. They need to be out of your lifestyle. They need to be out of your daily practices, out of your daily routines. You know, and I had to work on that. I really had to work on that myself. I'm using myself as an example first and foremost. I know it's not easy. Et dernier message pour garçon yo. Garçon yo besoin allouer yon docteur primary care. Un docteur ou bien a nurse practitioner ou bien a PA at least au moins une fois par année. Ou aller faire un check-up. Logo machine. Vous voulez qu'il machine là, vous voulez entretenir machine là, vous voulez you want to maintain the car. So fait. Ou pas le mécanicien avec machine là, on va parler you get an oil change. You get an oil change in the car, right? Moi-même, I change my oil every 3 months. Or every 3 months, or every 6,000 to 8,000 miles. You know why? Because I want the car to continue working well, right? Mais garçon yo, c'est même gens ou gon machine ou entretenir machine là, ou fait un pile bagarre avec machine là, on peut parce que vous les machine là comme couille bien. It's the same for your body. I'll faire un check-up. On va aller voir un docteur au moins une fois par année, une fois par an. Yo prend sang, yo checker cholestérol. Yo checker pour assurer qu'on va souffrir sucre. Yo checker pour voir qu'on va soit c'est l'autre abnormalité qui a une cause qu'on a un problème médical qu'on plus devant. And to be honest with you, Geralda, to be honest with you, Pastor Petroni, to be honest with you, like a doctor, au moins une fois par année. You know what it's good for? It's good to catch something before it gets bad. It's good to catch something before it gets bad. Comme si, y'en a pas pour un bagay. Avant leaving grave. For example, I know there's a guy, he came in, a Haitian guy. He's the only Haitian man that I've met here in Baltimore thus far. He was 68 years old, had metastatic colon cancer everywhere. And I asked him, you know, I admitted him. I was working at one of the hospitals, and I admitted him, and I asked him, you know, when was the last time he had a colonoscopy? He never had a colonoscopy. You think on to get a colonoscopy at least at age 50, you know, 50, 60, he never got one. He's 68 years old now. He's coming in with metastatic colon cancer everywhere. This is something that could have been caught early. This is something that could have been treated early. So, le wala kay docteur, you know, li aide docteur garder pour wè si gen bagay qu'elle ka traité. On peut immédiatement oublier bonheur avant ba yo vin dégringoler avant ba yo vin grave. So c'est message ça m'gen pour garçon yo, c'est message ça m'gen pour mesdames yo, et c'est message ça m'gen pour tout auditeur et auditrice. I swear.
You did great in the Creole, Dr. Remsky. That is so cool.
Actually, you know, parce que boy sit là, you know, I'm not in Miami anymore. I don't speak Creole as often as I used to. Moi Creole anti Jean-Loup. Parce que je parle Creole souvent. Mais l'aime Miami, je parle chaque jour, but it was more fluid. I said Creole anti Jean-Loup à soi.
Well, you did good. Et pas inquiéto de ce que m'a appris. Des fois, l'autre genre sound a little funny, so that tickles. Yeah, that's with love. So, Dr. Ramsky, gon moun kap mande pou moun la, pou un zanmil, est-ce que Jean-Monsieur yo reme fè, this is the question, does frequent intimacy increase heart health?
Belle question, Pastor Patroni. Yes, it does.
C'est pas moi non mandel.
Madame Theodore, belle question. Oui, it does increase heart health. So sex has been associated with, you know, many health benefits. Many health benefits, right? It increases your cardiovascular health, right? Yes, oui. Le ap fè bagay. Somebody qui bon pile. Parce que pour garçon, et même pour femme, madame nan tout, it decreases stress. Il diminue un bon niveau de stress. It decreases stress. Yes, it does. Bon minute. Yes.
Dr. Ramsky, you have studies proving this?
Oh, absolutely. I will send you some articles. I will send you some. I will send you some articles, Pastor Batoni. Sex is an extremely useful tool for overall health because it decreases stress. It says the question was always for a friend. Yeah, but the sex that I'm referring to is sex within a marriage, within a matrimony, obviously, right? I'm talking about sex between a husband and a wife, right? This sex, as a matter of fact, God takes pleasure in this type of intercourse, this type of intimacy. My husband, I don't want my husband to hear that part. Oh, see, Summer Lewis doesn't want her husband to hear that part, but Summer Lewis, your husband needs to hear it. He needs to hear it. And as someone who cares about her husband, Mrs. Lewis, you should encourage and promote the sexual activity amongst the both of you. Yes. 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 It's good. It's good stuff. It decreases stress. It increases the heart rate, right? And it also creates a better bond between the family network, between the man and the wife. Yes, intimacy is good. Yes, it's very, very good question. Whoever asked the question, thank you so much.
Okay, and with that said, we're gonna close.
I agree, Geralda.
Yes. So if you want your husband to live longer, increase in intimacy. So that was wonderful. Dr. Ramsky, again, nous avons pour nous remercier à Soya pour le mois de février qui est dédicacé à la santé du cœur physique. La santé du cœur, et nous discuter la santé du cœur pour les hommes qui pas tellement mal qu'à docteur et qui changement nous-mêmes tout mesdames yo supposé faire à l'intérieur de la maison pendant que nous fait manger. We feeding the bellies of the guys, so we need to look out for good practices, healthy habits, so our entire home can be healthy and our men do not die before their time. And at the last minute you added that intimacy, a lot of intimacy does help with heart health. So, mesdames, that's it. So we thank you so much, and the audience wants you to be back. I'm gonna occuper en pile. So we've already seen you 3 times on the platform. Whenever something very important, another topic that's very crucial, very important comes up, we will call you again, Dr. Ramsky. We don't want to bother you too much. We know
it's never a bother. Avec plaisir. It's never a bother.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Ramsky. And to all the audience, whether you're on YouTube, please, if you're on YouTube, make sure you share, because the Facebook page and profile, something is going on. I'm not sure what they want from me. I don't know from Facebook, but if you are watching on YouTube, click on the share button, and then you'll see destinations open. You'll see WhatsApp, you'll see Messenger, you'll see email, whatever means, mostly through WhatsApp. You can share on YouTube, because the Facebook algorithm is totally messed up on my page and on my profile. So I do thank you. We're going to continue with them and see what happens, but please focus to YouTube. Okay, guys, thank you again so much, Dr. Ramsky. The audience totally loves you, and thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, you guys, for morning prayer and meditation. Dr. Ramsky, God bless you so much. Annabelle, thanks you. Dr. D, thanks you. Amen. So yeah, we thank you so much for being here tonight. Okay, we'll see you later, and good night, Dr. Ramsky. All the best to you. Be safe in that weather out there. Yes, we know there's bad weather. Be safe.
Will do. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys for being with us tonight. It was a great pleasure, wonderful topic, and please apply it. Jean, Dr. D toujours dit, information plus application is change. But si nous pas appliquer, ça nous tend des informations, nous pas faire rien du tout, c'est temps nous n'a perdu. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow morning for prayer. Tomorrow's Friday. Que le Seigneur te bénisse et qu'il te garde. Que le Seigneur fasse luire sa face sur toi, qu'il t'accorde sa grâce. Que le Seigneur tourne sa face vers toi, qu'il t'accorde sa paix. Au nom de Jésus, good night, and we'll see you again next Thursday for another broadcast of Thursday Night Live. Do not miss it. It's going to be a very special one for the last Thursday of the month of February, which will be February 25th. God bless you all. Bye-bye.